All right, now pleased to be joined by Kansas head coach Bill Self, whose team faces number 4 Providence in Chicago in the Sweet 16 this week. And Bill, you get the luckiest team in America this week, the Providence Friars. I've been calling them that all year, and Ed Cooley kind of buys into it. Now, I think it's posturing a little bit that he buys into it, but I heard he slipped today, but somehow broke his fall. And he was lucky, though, and he's lucky everything that happens right now.
Well, first of all, when you're good, you don't need quite as much luck, and the Friars are good. And Ed's a terrific coach, and never played against him. Played against his teams at Boston College that he recruited the majority of those guys, but I'm happy for them. I'm not happy for us that we have to play them on Friday, but they got a good team, and as you know, they can stretch it. 5 different guys can really stretch it, and they can play around bigs that can score around the basket, and they're always going to play tough. So I'm not buying into this luck stuff. I think it's much more talent and skill over luck.
No, and they're tough. I mean, that's the one thing that stands out to me. They may not be the most talented team, but they're a bunch of dudes that I think you would like because they play hard, they play with a chip on their shoulder, and they'll fight you.
Yeah. Well, that's how, you want teams like that. Even if you have really talented teams, you want them to play with that chip and fight you. And they got talent. They're old, as you know. I mean, I think we're old, but we're starting guys, technically with the COVID year, Jalen Wilson could be a freshman eligibility wise. Juan Harris is a freshman eligibility wise. Christian Brown would be a sophomore with the COVID year eligibility wise. And then, of course, Oach and David would be juniors eligibility wise. And you look at them, if you just look at it like that, because we're experienced. I mean, we got one of the more experienced teams, but they're more experienced than we are without question when you talk about, raw age and how many years they've been in college.
All right, let's talk Remy Martin. We were waiting for this. We've been waiting for this all year, haven't we, to see the Remy Martin that you thought you were getting when you went in the portal and plucked your quick point guard that you really needed in the offseason. Why has Remy Martin been able to turn on now?
You know what? It would probably be hard for me to explain if I hadn't seen him play the last 2 weeks, because this is the first time since the end of December that he's played with any type of pace or speed. And we tried playing with his knee because it was a bruise, and it didn't work. We tried setting him with his knee for about, 8-9 games or whatever. It didn't work. He came back and was still, 70%. It looked like he just couldn't move.
No burst, right?
No burst, and that's what makes him effective is his burst. And without that, I don't want to say neutralized, but without that, it takes away who he is. And in the last 2 weeks, we've seen the burst, and it's different. It's different, and I'm so excited about it because I've been telling people all along that we haven't seen our best version of ourselves just because he hasn't been healthy. But I haven't seen him in basically going on 2.5 months. Maybe I haven't seen him deliver it like you think it's actually going to come. And it's come, though. And that doesn't guarantee success or play great moving forward, but he's a different guy than he was since back at the start of the season.
Bill, I tell people that with Remy playing like he has, with David McCormick, you've kind of gotten back, right? First half, David, second half, David. For the most part, he's been a different player. You've got wings that I think you'd put up against just about anybody in the country, and Ochai and Christian Brown and Jalen Wilson. What do you worry about? What's the biggest thing that maybe you haven't had that you need other than, obviously Creighton made every 3?
Well, and when Providence did too against Richmond, defending the arc obviously is something we have to do better, especially playing the Friars. But you know what? We've got really good pieces. I like our pieces. David, we've managed his minutes all year long, and he's been effective some games and not as effective other games just because of soreness and things like that. But he's probably doing as well as he has been all year long. Mitch, sprained his MCL, and so he's not 100%. But we're hopeful. We were hoping if we get through the first weekend, maybe he'll be close to 100 this weekend. We don't know if he will. So it doesn't guarantee success, but we're probably as healthy as we've been. So, but the biggest thing that we've got to do is we haven't consistently kind of put it all together yet. It's like against Creighton, we weren't very good. They guarded us, scouted us, and Remy scored 16 the first half to keep us in it. But Ochai didn't have a basket. I mean, we haven't got it where it's all doing this yet. So I'm hopeful that it all comes together this weekend.
Is Ochai the key to that? I know you didn't need him as much in the first round game, but I think the last game of the Big 12 tournament, he was just okay. He was okay against Creighton. Is that something where you need him to be more aggressive than he's been, or what's been the issue?
You know what? I don't know that I actually think that. What I think it is I think he's taking good shots. I just don't think he shot as good a percentage. I think he's playing fine. To me, before the season, guy gets 16 and 7, and you're going to say, yeah, that's a pretty good game. And now, based on kind of how he spoiled us, it's like, well, he's not quite hitting on all cylinders yet. But the one thing about him is he's been a model of consistency. Even though he hasn't had huge numbers in the last couple of weeks, 16, 18, 15, 17 or whatever, that you can live with that. And I think we're a better team if we have balance rather than just look to him to score. But we haven't shot it consistently well. And in a tournament, I don't know what we've been. I think 6 of 18 is the best we've shot it. So I do think we have better shooters than that.
All right. Well, listen, thanks for joining us. I'll see you this week in Chicago. And
I look forward to seeing you and your lovely daughter. I hear she's coming up with you.
She is. So make sure you take care of her. It doesn't matter about me at this point. It's all about my daughter and trying to teach her the right things.
Well, knowing coming from you, that may be a challenge, but knowing the crack journalist you are, I'm sure you'll teach her at a relatively young age to always hedge your bets when you're picking the winner, though, right?
Yeah, like I did with Joel, right?
Yeah. Hey, Joel Embiid, he may or may not come back to school next year. I thought that was one of the most brilliant investigative jobs that I think I've ever seen any journalist do.
Was I correct?
Well, you were correct. You were going to get 50% of it right. No
exactly. Listen, I'm going to teach her that while she's young.
Hey, that's a pretty safe bet. So just teach her. Hey, Kansas or Providence, one of them will probably win.
Kansas might or might not be lucky and win. That's what I'm going to say. All right. Listen, Bill Self, appreciate it. We'll see you this week.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.